I'll talk a little bit briefly about our institutions first to give you a little bit of an overview of our institutions, and then we're going to jump right into talking about the essay and how each of us value it and what we look for you guys to write this week. Augustana College is a college located about 2.5 hours straight west of here. Drive to the Mississippi River and turn left, not drive into the Mississippi River. We are about 2,500 students, so a nice small campus community. As you can see, it's like plotting a college campus in the middle of a forest preserve. It's gorgeous. Top 25 most beautiful college campuses. Go ahead, speak to them. The hot clicker. We are really well known for a couple of majors. Our communication sciences and speech pathology program. We're starting a master's program in that, where you can do your master's program in 5 years. Something we're really well known for pre-health sciences, music, education as well. So those are kind of the top few majors. Something that makes us unique is our Augie Choice. We give every student $2,000 to work with and use for some type of unique special internship opportunity, study abroad opportunity, something really extra special to put on your resume, and you don't have to worry about funding that. Augustana gives every student that $2,000, which is really phenomenal. We're Division III for athletics. We rank 7th in the nation for producing the most academic All-Americans across all divisions, so that means students perform at the highest level academically and at the highest level athletically, so a great opportunity for students who are looking to do well in both of those areas. Because we have 2,500 students, our student-to-teacher ratio is incredibly small, so you get a lot of personal attention through our advising process. Our Career Development Center is what I like to call career development on steroids. We have a counselor-to-student ratio of 15:1, so really a lot of personalized attention as you're looking at planning out your future and plotting what you're going to major in, what you're going to do beyond Augustana. We start from day one, your freshman year, really helping you get on the right path and make sure that you are on track to do what you're supposed to do, what you're meant to do, not just what you could do. We have over 200 student organizations for students to get involved in, so for a school of our size, that's pretty awesome. So something for everyone, which is great.
Morning, everyone. My name is Keegan. I'm with Marquette University in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We are a medium-sized school, but we're right in downtown Milwaukee. So you get a lot of the personalized attention that Aaron kind of talked about with Augustana, but in an urban environment. So we're Division I athletics. We have tons of research and internship and job opportunities, both on campus and in and around Milwaukee. We're also a Jesuit institution, which is an order of Catholic priests that are really focused on education and service. So we really pride ourselves in the quality of education we provide our students, as well as the support that we give you in helping you become men and women for others, as we say. But also very strong service element that goes through the university. We are rolling admissions now at Marquette. And what that means for you is we've already started reviewing applications from Sandberg. In fact, I owe a couple of you guys emails, so I'll get to those later today when we're done. But I've already started to see some Sandberg applications, which is awesome. We're only 90 minutes north. Milwaukee's only 90 minutes, maybe slightly longer from here at Sandberg. So come visit us. We'd love to have you. I don't know if in the back you can read it, but our website is there, marquette.edu/explore. But we look forward to reviewing your applications and seeing you on campus. Michelle?
Hi, I'm Michelle Rogers. I work for St. Louis University, also known as SLU. SLU is about 4 hours south of here in St. Louis, Missouri. We too are a Catholic Jesuit university. The Jesuits, as Keegan was saying, are a Catholic order of priests. The Pope, if anyone is Catholic or has heard of the Pope, he's Jesuit. You don't have to be Catholic to attend any of the Jesuit schools. There's 28 of them in the country, and they all have the same mission of faith and education for students. We have 100 programs of study. All of our majors are direct entry. Probably the most internationally known would be the health sciences. We have a really strong science portion of campus. We have students from every state in 78 different countries. We have 1,500 international students on campus, which is really fun. We also have our own campus in Madrid, Spain. So there's a lot to offer. We have a law school, med school. We have 8,500 undergraduates and another 5,000 graduate students, including PhD candidates, med students, and law students. And we are in the city, but our campus is really unique in that we're all enclosed. So it's a true campus right in the middle of the city. So you can check it out on the website. There's a lot about us that you can see, but I know that this is really the start of your essay boot camp, so let's get started right away on that. Erin?
So we're going to give you some tips, some do's, some don'ts. Hopefully by the time you leave here, you will not leave feeling more stressed. You'll leave feeling less stressed about venturing into the next process or the start of your writing your essay this week. Hopefully this won't be you. Right? You guys have seen Anchorman, right? Yes. You're not that young. So of course we want to make this process as simple as possible so that you have straightforward takeaways to really be able to leave this room feeling like I know what I need to write about, I know what I should be writing about, I know the steps that I need to take moving forward this week, and I feel like I can accomplish this goal. Don't panic, don't stress. It can be very simple, and we want to make it simple for you.
Okay, so you're all seniors, right? Yeah. Most of you? Okay. Well, one of the things that I think many colleges use is what's called the Common Application. It's a common application for multiple schools. And what we find with that is, as you are applying to colleges and universities, is that the last thing students do is the essay. They'll tell us, well, I'm going to submit it, I'm just looking at my essay one more time. So we understand that this is the part that you guys put a lot of time and energy in. And I'm also going to tell you, as a parent of 3 kids that have gone through this, you worry about it a lot, but we say, like Erin says, don't panic, because really we're just trying to see who you are and how you think. And actually, to break it down a little bit, I would put all the essays that we read, and we were talking beforehand, we each read a minimum of 1,000 essays a year, okay? So if you take all of them and put them into a timeline, we would put them into a category of like 10, 80, 10. And actually, I would probably change that category of 10, 85, 5. So let's take the middle percentage. 85% of all the essays we read are fine. They're good. They're well done. We learn something about you. We see who you are and how you write. We have a good idea of how you would do on our college campus. 10% are great, and we might talk about them for years. We're like, oh, remember that one? That was good. And then 5% aren't like really bad. 5% either usually they're not that the student didn't have the ability most times. It's usually that you waited till the night before. Right? Now, sometimes it's they don't have the ability, depending upon what school levels, highly selective or everything like that. But really, that's it. So 90 to 95% of all the essays that students submit are just fine. So that's why it's important to just think this through and know on your first day of school, you might have an English class that someone says, okay, by tomorrow we need a 250-word essay on. So that does happen. I think that's really important to know, though, when you have opportunities like this from your high school, if you take advantage of them, you're going to be just fine.
So with all that being said, of course, you want to hear from the college reps, what are you looking for on the essay? So we're going to try to tell you that in some, actual concrete terms that then you can go home and get to work on this. So what are we looking for? Well, first of all, we're looking to learn something about you as an individual that we can't learn on the rest of your application. So it's not something that your teacher is writing about you in their recommendation letter. It's not something that we can clearly see on your resume or your transcript or your test score. We want to learn something new about you, okay? We're hoping that you're going to reveal who you are and what's important to you outside of the classroom, potentially. Maybe it's inside of the classroom, but like, what makes you tick? Why are you a great person beyond your classroom? Because we can see that instantly on your transcript and your test score. Why are you a great person that we want to have on our college campus? And then please try to tell us a story, because we read 1,000 of these, literally. And Michelle reads thousands. I don't know about Erin, we'll check later. But thousands of essays, right? So please tell us a story that we're going to enjoy reading. So what to include here? So a specific topic, okay? Please tell us what topic you're writing about so that we know what to expect. When we start to read your essay, we're not thinking, geez, what is this kid talking about? I have no idea, right? Please tell us what the topic is presented, either in your first sentence or if you're answering like an essay topic, let us know what that is. And then reflect on how your perspective has changed because of that topic, okay? We want to learn how you've grown as a person through some experience or challenge or opportunity or whatever. How has your perspective changed? How are you? That's going to give us a sense of how you're going to continue to grow and change as a person at our university, okay? And then how are you going to bring that change and that perspective to our campus, okay? So start to think about that, and here are some do's and don'ts from Erin.
So number one, make sure you answer the question that is asked. If it's a specific prompt, make sure that you are following the directions. That's really simple, but it's a good reminder to make sure that at the end of the essay, you have gotten to the point, that you have answered what is being asked of you. These are some examples, and I'll read them just because they're kind of small on the screen. Some examples of things to write about. Your accomplishments, so something that you've achieved, a goal, something that you've accomplished. Skills, maybe something that's unique to you that other people can't do, that you can do. Again, it's just something that needs to be something that you're passionate about. So maybe it's not something earth-shattering, but if you're passionate about it and you can write about it with some impact, then you can use that. Experiences, something that's happened in your life that's had a big impact on you or changed your perspective. The happiest time of your life or the most difficult time of your life, certainly those are out in an essay and used to share more about you because those are things that are specific to your story. Something that you mastered, something that challenged you, that you took on to challenge yourself and that you actually came through on the other side and mastered it and describe that process. Something you're passionate about, of course, and a specific event. So those are some really good examples that for sure, as I read those, all of you should have been able to come up with something that matched one of those categories that hopefully then you could take away and say, oh, now I know what I'm going to write about because it fits one of those categories.
Okay, so here's some tips as well. Have someone you know read it. Sometimes a different pair of eyes help that process. So if I say to Erin, can you read my essay? And she's reading it and she's crying because it's, what I wrote was so beautiful. Or if she's laughing because I put humor in it. Or if she hands it back and she's like, ooh, that was nice. That's probably how we're going to respond. This is a subjective part of the application. The regular part of the application is, who are you? Where do you live? What do you want to major in? Who are your parents? Do you have siblings? That's basic information. But this is the part where, as Keegan said, this is where we get to know you. So have someone read it. Now, as a parent, very oftentimes you'll say to your parent, can you read this? What do they want to do? Change it. Said nothing. No, they want to be like, well, I would change this. You know what? Say to them, you can read it. I'm just asking you to look for grammar or what have you. Parents want to know who you are and how you think as well. Use the spell check. How many of you use it every single time you send an email or write a paper? Awesome. A couple of you. Okay, well, let me tell you about one of my favorite essays along the way. Actually, it was about 20 years ago. 20 years ago, my colleague says, Michelle, I'm sending you an essay. I want you to read it. Okay, great. She sends it to me. I read it. It's beautiful. It's a girl who's a volunteer at a hospital, and she's on the terminally ill ward. It's beautiful. She talks about this woman that was dying, had no one to visit her. No one. But that moved her to the point where she decided to visit more, and she would read to her. And little by little, every day the woman failed, but she kept reading to her because she wanted to have someone by her side. It read like a Lifetime show. It was absolutely beautiful. One day she walked in, and the woman had died. And she talked about her perspective changed because she felt like she gave something to the woman in the last few days. But back then, they called volunteers at the hospital candy stripers, and throughout the whole email, she wrote candy stripper. So So striper and stripper are words, so it also goes back to have someone read it. Use the spell check and have someone read it. Have, had, and has is not often chosen. Coach is not a couch. So you have to have someone read it and use the spell check. Okay, now you guys can sit here and laugh and be like, she's lying, right? Not only am I not lying, every single year there's something like that. Be creative.
Every day. I think if I read 10 or 20 applications, every day I'll find an example of the wrong word used and it wasn't caught by spell.
Yeah. And that's not always going to make or break you. You guys are going to college for your potential for growth. But take one more look at it, and that's good. If you're funny, use humor. If you're creative, be creative. Now, many of you think you're funny in a text, and then many of us, I put myself in that too. We think we're being really funny, and then you get no response from someone. Don't use sarcasm, because that doesn't work in an essay either. If you're writing about someone you admire, I always ask the question, how many of you have someone in your life that you admire or who has influenced you? Awesome. If you are going to write about them, tell their story briefly and bring it back to you. Remember to go back to what Keegan says. How did your perspective change because of this person, and how will you bring that changed perspective with you? If the question is why SLU or why Marquette or why Augustana, don't tell us how great we are. We already know that. We're paid to tell you how great we are. Tell us what's important to you in college and how do we fit into that. So if you're saying I want physical therapy and that's why I'm looking at Marquette and SLU and Augustana, tell us how you were interested in physical therapy, why it's important to you, and how each one of our schools fits into it. Show, don't tell. Okay, how many of you had your English teacher say, that's nice, you say this, but you are not showing me, you're not giving me an example. Actually, every hand should be raised. Right? And let me tell you that your English teachers are right. Because if you say, I am changed because of the mission trip I do, but you never tell us what you're doing now, it's harder to believe that. And then what I say is be authentic. Again, it goes back to what Keegan said. It's a story only you can tell.
So that's what you should do. Now let's briefly talk about what you should not do, okay? So please don't rewrite your resume. The last thing that we would like to read in an essay is a grocery list or a list of things you've accomplished. Because send us a resume. I'll read a resume all day. I love resumes. But this is an essay, so please write us a story, not a list, okay? And yes, like a college application should be about you, and this process of applying to college and going to college is a kind of a selfish act, but it should be. This is you creating your life for the future. But when it comes to the essay, just keep in mind that we can read all of your accomplishments elsewhere in the application and pick one activity or experience, something you're passionate about, and write about one thing. Don't try to squeeze in every little thing that you've done or said or accomplished, okay? Don't just write what you think the school wants you to write, okay? It's very, especially with the why Augustana or why Marquette question, it's so often like, oh, they have such a great, fantastic program and it's a transformational experience. Yeah, we know, we wrote that on our website and you just took it from the website, okay? So please, don't just write what we think you want to write. Write what's going to help us learn about you. Please don't use the wrong school name. I'd say probably 20 or 30 times a year, I'll read an essay that's talking about how wonderful Augustana College is. And it is. Oh, it is wonderful. But you applied to Marquette, so please make sure that you get the school name right. Please don't start with, my name is Keegan White, and I am planning on studying physical therapy at Marquette University. Well, that's great, I know, because I'm reading your applications. Instead, perhaps think about a more creative or just dive right into the topic or something. You don't need to introduce yourself to us with a my name is. Don't write the essay at the last minute or on your phone where the formatting is going to look crazy when I'm reading it on a computer. Keep in mind that, again, we read many of these, and those mistakes, like some of the ones that Michelle talked about with using the wrong word, your, there's many different kinds of your, get the right one. That's the kind of stuff that tends to get missed if you wait until the last minute. So don't wait until the last minute. I know we're up against the bell, but I have 2 minutes and I'm going to use it. Tonight, at 6 o'clock, right here in this space, we're going to be continuing this same topic, but for parents. So please, text your parents right now, if you're allowed to. Text your parents and let them know 6 o'clock tonight, we're going to be going over the essay and how your parents can support you, not how they can take over your life, but how they can support you in this process. And we're going to be doing several of these slides regarding parental support. So tell them to come back at 6 o'clock tonight. With that, we have about a minute. Is anyone brave enough to ask a question? Oh, we have a brave soul right here in the front. Yes. Michelle, did the girl get accepted with the essay with the strippers?
Oh, candy stripper, yes.
Yes, she was accepted. See, so you're human, mistakes can be made.
I refer back to the potential for growth. Actually, we called her and told her, and she started crying. We're like, no, it's the best thing we've read in a long time.